A very good afternoon, respected resource person, Dr.A.Kavita Madam Garu, Asst.Professor, Department of Botany, Rbvrr Women's College, Autonomous Hyderabad. Madam is going to explain today's topic, that is a polytrichum in Bryophyta. My dear friends, listen carefully. And
Good afternoon, sir.
Madam, please welcome. Madam Garu.
Yes, sir.
Please welcome and start the session.
Yes, sir. Shall I start?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Please, you start.
Okay. Good afternoon, friends.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
So today we are going to start with Polytrichum, the another type study in Bryophytes. Okay. So just I'll start sharing my screen. Can you see the slide here?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So we'll go with the first, the type study of the classification of the genus Polytrichum. So it comes under the division Bryophytes, what we are dealing now, and it is the class Bryopsida. Okay, whereas in Markantia, it belongs to Hepaticopsida. Anthoceros, it belongs to Anthoceratopsida. And this Polytrichum, it belongs to the class called as Bryopsida. And the order Polytrichales, family Polytrichaceae, and the genus Polytrichum. And here, just remember, this is this class Bryopsida is the advanced class of the Bryophytes. That is all the advanced forms, okay, which are having some complex structure when compared to the Anthoceros and the Markantia. You can observe this in the Polytrichum. So when we talk about the habitat where it is growing, so another important point, this Polytrichum is called as the moss plant. All the plants which are the Bryophytes coming under this class Bryopsida, they all commonly called as moss plants, M-O-S-S, mosses, moss plants under. And this Polytrichum is considered as the miniature plant of the Bryophytes. And what do you mean by miniature? And a plant absorb by appearance. The plant appears the shape of a original plant. The plant is no more here a thallus. Anthoceros lo Markantia lo manam thallus plant body annam. Kani Polytrichum lo it shows the resemblance of a plant structure, that is having the stem-like structure. These are the leaf-like structures and the root-like structures, or we are calling it as a rhizome. Okay, so as the plant is, that is the Polytrichum is showing the appearance of a plant, so it is considered as a miniature plant. Okay, so this Polytrichum, it appears, it is a worldwide distribution. It is observed in all the parts of the world and growing in the cool and the shady places. Now, when we talk about the general structure, that is how the plant body is, here also the dominant phase of the plant is gametophyte. So already we discussed in the general characters. The plant body, the adult plant body is the gametophyte. Even Polytrichum is also a gametophyte. Next. So the plant consists of two parts. Here we can differentiate the plant into two parts, which is rhizome and the upper leafy shoot. Okay, so you can see here, this is the structure of a Polytrichum. So I'm differentiating this into two parts. This is the basal rhizome and this is the upright leafy shoot. So what is the rhizome here? So it is the horizontal part of the plant which is growing underground the substratum or underground the soil with small colorless leafy-like structures called as rhizoids. Okay, I repeat this. It is a horizontal. Ante manaki bhumiki paina itla addanga grow avutu untadu anamata. That's why we call it as underground. Okay, inside the soil, horizontally it will be growing, and it is colorless. It is that means to say it does not have a peculiar color. The color of it will be equivalent to the soil color. Okay, and it is bearing some small root-like structures called as rhizoids. So by which the plant is attached to the substratum. So the rhizome, it is somewhat relevant to the stem-like structure. So stem paina leaves, so stem underneath the roots etla untayo. Rhizome is more or less equivalent to the stem of the plant. Okay, and rhizoids are equivalent to the root-like structures. Now, next we are going for the next aerial part of the plant, which is called as the upright leafy shoot. Now, so what is this? So here the leafy shoots are much longer, and it is the most conspicuous part of the plant, which arises from the rhizome, and it consists of the central axis, on which we can see the arrangement of large leaf-like structures which are arranged spirally. And so this is the upright leafy shoot, okay, which consists of the central axis, and around the central axis you can see these are the leaf-like structures. They're not exactly the leaves, they are the leaf-like structures which are attached to it in a spiral manner. Spiral and stem chuttur and leafy central axis undi kada, okka nodal and okka point daggara you can see the arrangement of them in the spiral. And chuttura, stem chuttura, you can see the arrangement of the leaves. Now, how are these leaves here? These leaves going to have broad base. ikkada veetiki petiole anedi emi undadu. So it is going to have a broad base, and upper portion is green in color and it is broad. Okay, right. So each leaf has a broad base and a colorless leaf base with a narrow distal limb. So you can see here when I show you the structure of the leaf. So this is the leaf. Okay, this is the broad base and this is the upper part of the leaf, which is photosynthetic in origin. It consists of, the upper part is going to consist of a midrib, and these leaves, they possess photosynthetic tissue performing the photosynthesis. And these leaves are considered as the lamellae, or we can also call them as phylloid also. Leaf-like structure. They are not exactly the leaf. They are leaf-like structures performing the photosynthesis. So they are considered as the lamellae or phylloids. Now, so next we are going for the internal structure of the leaf or tiers of the leaf. When we are, this is the leaf. So when I observe the tiers of the leaf here, so it is going to have a complex internal structure. It is not just like, so in the Anthoceros and Markensia, we have not come across any structure like this. Leaf anedi ledakada. But here this is a advanced bryophyte with a some complex structure having the rhizome, rhizoids and the leaf-like structures. So when in the internal structure also, you can see the complexity, and when we take the internal structure here, it is going to consist of the upper epidermal tissue and the lower epidermal tissue, and the midrib region is very, very thick. So I told you this consists of a central midrib region, which is very thicker in origin, And one of these one of this thicker region, what we are talking about. So this is the epidermis. Above the epidermis, this is the sclerenchymatous tissue. So due to the presence of this sclerenchymatous tissue, the midrib region is thicker. Okay. Next, above this sclerenchymatous tissue, you can see the presence of a thin-walled parenchymatous cells, which are arranged in the form of lamellae, or these are arranged in the form of a linear strands. So these are all the parenchymatous cells which are present in a linear form, arranged one above the other, and hence they are called as lamellae, and they consist of the chloroplast for the photosynthesis, for performing of the photosynthesis. So this is regarding the TS of the leaf, transverse section of the leaf. So I repeat this once again. Having the outer epidermal region or the outer epidermis, and it consists of below, that is above this epidermis tissue, you can see a very thick sclerenchymatous tissue which forms a midrib region, and in the central part of this leaf, you can see the presence of the photosynthetic tissue with the cells arranged in linear manner and having the chloroplast. So this is about the internal structure of the leaf, which are considered to be as the phylloid or the lamellae. Now next, when we go for the transverse section of the stem, or I'm also calling that as the rhizome. We are not calling it as a stem exactly, but in the polytrichum, we have to call it as the rhizome. So when we talk about the transverse section, it shows three regions: central medulla, surrounded by cortex, and the outermost epidermal tissue or the epidermis. So here, these are the three layers. This is the outer epidermis, and this is a cortex region, and this is the central medulla. Okay. Next. So this central medulla, it is again differentiated into central zone and the peripheral zone. Whereas the cells of the cortex, it is thick-walled cells, and the innermost layer of the cortex is consisting of the conducting strands, which are called as the mantle, and its cells contain the starch grains for storing the food material. So this is the mantle region of the cortex, which is going to store the starch for preserving the food material, and these are the conducting strands. And here, this is the central region, which is called as the mantle region. Next, so this is regarding the internal structure of polytrichum rhizome and the polytrichum leaf. Okay, and the structure, the morphology, the external morphology of the plant, how it looks like. Now we are going on, switching on to the reproduction point of view of the polytrichum. So even polytrichum is also reproducing by vegetative means, asexual and the sexual reproduction. So when the vegetative reproduction we talk about, first thing is it is reproducing with the help of fragmentation. So that means when the branches of the plant is separated, and when that branch is detached from the plant, it will behave as an independent plant. So this is called as the fragmentation. And then I talk about the protonema. So when after the sexual reproduction, that is from the capsule, when the spores are germinating, these spores, they will germinate and give rise to a small filamentous structure which is called as protonema. So this protonema will develop and produce a new gametophyte again. So these are the two means of vegetative reproduction which is carried out by the polytrichum. Now I'm going on to the sexual reproduction. So polytrichum plant is a dioecious plant. That is, both male plant and the female plant, they both are separate from one another. That means the male plant body produces the male reproductive organs called as antheridia, and the female plant produce the female reproductive parts or the sexual organs called as the Archegonia. Right. So when we discuss about the male plant, okay, that is the development of the male sexual organ which is called as the antheridia. In the male plant, the male sexual organs which are called as antheridia, they are developed on the cluster of, or they are developed in the head, we call it as, this is the antheridia which are developed in the cluster of the leaves, apical leaves, okay, so which are called as perigonial leaves. That is on the male plant. So in the male plant, okay, the tip of the male plant here is called as the antheridial head. So you can see here, this is called as the antheridial head, in which in between the leaves, you can see the development of the male sexual organs which are called as antheridia. So these antheridia, they are in alternating. So this is the antheridia which are alternating with some leaves which are called as paraphysis. They are considered to be as the sterile leaves, helpful for providing the support to the antheridium. Am I clear? I repeat this. Mainly the antheridia in the polytrichum, the antheridia, they are developed in a specialized structure which is called as antheridial head. The antheridial head lo emunai, what does it consist of? It consists of a cluster of leaves. Cluster ante oka leaves yoka gumpu anamata. Okay, oka group of leaves. Then those leaves are called as perigonial leaves. This is very, very important for the exam point of view. The leaves are arranged in a cluster, and that too they are in the form of a rosette pattern. And they are in the form of a petals of a rose. How they are spirally arranged. In the same way, these perigonial leaves are also arranged in the rosette manner. And then apart from this perigonial leaves, the antheridial head consists of the paraphysis, which are the sterile leaves. These paraphyses are called as sterile leaves, which are arranged alternately with the antheridia. So this is antheridia. Okay, antheridia. Next, paraphysis. Next antheridia, again the paraphysis. Like that, an alternating of antheridia, the male sexual organ, and the paraphysis along with the perigonial leaves forms the antheridial head of the male plant or a male polytrichum. Next, how is the antheridia here? This antheridia is a club-shaped structure. Long and elongated club-shaped structure having a small stalk. So with the help of this stalk, it is attached to the apical region of this main axis of the plant body. Next, each antheridium is again surrounded by a jacket layer of cells. Okay, that's why I told you in the starting only. It is a common point in all the bryophytes that the sexual organs are surrounded by a single layer of jacket layer. Next. Now, inside this antheridia, we can see the development of androcyte mother cells or anthrozoid mother cells, which will undergo reduction division and gives rise to the male gametes, which are called as antherozoids, which are also biflagellated. So I think, I hope this is clear for you all. Ardhamainda antheridial head. This chala important
Yes,
for your
ma'am.
notes. Okay. So male plant lo, you can see the antheridial, the tip of the male plant. The main axis of the male plant consists of antheridial head. The antheridial head lo emem unnai? We can see the rosette manner of perigonial leaves and paraphysis and the antheridia. So, ee moodu kaliputeni that forms a cup-like structure which is called as the antheridial head. Now, next we'll go to the archegonial head. That is the female part of the female plant. So just like antheridial head, even the archegonial head is developed on the apical part of the main axis of the plant body. So that forms the archegonial head. So in this archegonial head also, you can see the development of, here also you can see the three structures. One is called as perichetial leaves. Antheridial head lo, you come across what type of leaves? We call them as perigonial. Okay. So whereas in the archegonial head, you come across perichetial leaves. Okay. And along with the perichetial leaves, you can see the presence of archegonia. So inkoka important point enti ante ikkada ee archegonial head lo you can't see any paraphysis. Paraphysis are absent. So you come across only the perichetial leaves and the archegonia, the female sexual organs. Next important point. Ee perichetial leaves ivetla unnai, same like perigonial leaves. They are also rosette-like manner. They are arranged spirally, okay, and enclosing. Ee leaves em chestunnayi, they are overlapping with one another and completely enclosing a group of archegonia. Center lo archegonia untai. These are the archegonia. And surrounding this archegonia, there are leaves which are present, which are spirally arranged, called as perichetial leaves. Now, each archegonial head comprises of around 3 to 6 archegonia. Okay, right. So, how is the archegonial structure here? So, just like the other bryophytes, each archegonia is also a flask-shaped structure having a globose venter and a neck. And the one peculiar character of this polytrichum here is we can see a globose venter at the bottom, but the neck is very, very long, a long neck with almost around 6 to 10 cells. So, ade anthoceros lo, marcantia lo, anthoceros lo aithe, the neck is very, very small with only 2 to 3 polytrichum, the neck is very, very long with around 6 to 10 cells which are arranged vertically, one above the other. Okay, so I repeat, mature Archegonia, which is a flask shaped and also having a stalk by which is it attached to the archegonial head, and it consists of a very long neck and twisted also with around 6 to 10 neck canal cells, and venter consists of a small venter canal cell and a large egg cell. So this is the structure of the Archegonia in the archegonial head. And another important point of this archegonial head enti, the leaves which are surrounding the archegonia, they are called as pericytial leaves, and we does not find any paraphysis, the sterile leaves. We can't see such structures in the archegonial head. Now, how is this archegonia is developed? So each archegonia is going to be developed from an archegonial initial. So this archegonial initial will divide by a transverse division and form a stalk and the upper archegonial. This is the upper archegonial mother cell. Okay, this is the stalk and this is the archegonial mother cell. Now the stalk will develop into a massive stalk, a multicellular stalk region, and the archegonial mother cell will transform itself to form the archegonia. Okay, so this archegonial mother cell will undergo 3 vertical divisions and form 3 peripheral cells, and these 3 peripheral cells will divide to form the jacket layer around the venter, and the surrounding axial cell will transform into the inner central cell and outer apical cell. The central cell will form the venter and the egg cell, whereas the outer apical cell will develop into the long neck with a vertical row of 6 to 10 neck canal cells. So this is how the archegonia is developed from a single archegonial initial in the archegonial head region. So that is about the antheridial head and the archegonial head of the polytrichum, where we can see a dioecious, that is both male plant and the female plant are separate from each other. Now, next we are going on to the fertilization. So what is this fertilization? When these 2 sexual organs, that is the antheridia as well as the archegonia of both the plants, when they get mature, that is from the antheridial head, from the antheridia, the anthrozoids are going to be released into the surrounding water, and in the archegonial head, and that too in the archegonia, the venter canal cell and the neck canal cells, they dissolve to form the mucilage. So due to this, here this is also a chemotactic attraction. This mucilage will come out of the archegonia, attracting the male gametes, which are the anthrozoids. So with the help of the rainwater, they swim in that water, and the male gametes, they reach the neck region of the archegonia, and one of the male gamete, that is one of the anthrozoid, it swims down the neck and it reaches the venter. In the venter, where with the female gamete is ready, it will fuse with the female gamete and results in the formation of the diploid structure, what we call it as zygote or the oospore. So which is going to form the first stage, that is the zygote. It develops into the next generation, which is called as the sporophytic generation. So till the formation of this zygote or by the fertilization step, the gametophyte of the polytrichum will end. Now next we'll go on to the sporophytic generation. So here the zygote will develop into a well-developed sporophyte of the polytrichum, which is a complex structure as compared to the Markantia and the Anthoceros. Okay, so this is sporophyte. Structure of the sporophyte, we'll look into that in the next class. So this is zygote, which is a single diploid cell. It will undergo one transverse division and form the upper epibasal cell and the lower hypobasal cell. So this hypobasal cell, what we are talking about, it will form the foot and the lower part of the seta of the sporophyte, whereas the upper basal cell will develop into the upper part of the seta and the capsule region. Now, this foot region, what I'm talking about, this will get embedded in the archegonium of the archegonial head, whereas the seta and the capsule, which is developed from the zygote, they are emerging out of the archegonial head, and capsule becomes a very conspicuous structure, a very complicated structure. It appears just like a cup-like structure on the long seta region. Now, so this epibasal cell, it divides to form the young embryo. This embryo is cylindrical and completely surrounded by calyptra, and the cells of this embryo will divide to form amphithecium and the endothecium. Endothecium will form the central conducting strand of the apophysis, which forms the columella and the spore sac and the theca. So this I'll discuss regarding the structure of the capsule in the tomorrow's class. So just I'm stop sharing now. Yeah. So here, till the structure of the development of the sporophyte we covered in this polytrichum today. So please, any doubts in this, you can ask me now itself, because this is a very, very important type study showing some complications, some complex structure when compared to Anthoceros markantia. So ikkada antheridial head structure, archegonial head structure is very important for your short notes. So ikkada mana doubts unte please try to ask now itself. Yes, ma. Any doubts in this?
No, ma'am.
Okay then. Sir, I'll stop now at this particular point, and tomorrow I'll complete with the capsule, the structure of the capsule of the polytrichum. Sir, are you there? Okay, ma'am. Right. So I'll stop now. Thank you. So tomorrow we'll meet again in the class. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.